Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. And yes, we're back in our usual slot. Not on a Sunday night, but yes, on a Monday night, talking some Counter-Strike. Of course, there's not been a whole lot of CS played over the last week. Now, if anyone was going to cover that CS, it would be us. Because if not us, then who? Inner Circle took the title at... Lord, it was some tiny little...
Super Draculan is what it was.
They were really hoping that was to be a bigger event than it ended up being. But hey,
Yeah.
Ted was working it. They had Heku, I think, working as well. It seemed to go pretty well. And hey, a title for Inner Circle over Ascend. These guys, Ascend especially, just like crazy LAN record. They just make deep runs. But as I said, I don't think even we have the time to cover that this week. So I thought we would just shout it out as we opened up the show. Instead, we have to get into a whole lot of end-of-season conversations. We're going to have some top 20 player review. We're going to have prospects, teams, and we're also going to take a look at the Rostermania rumors. That rumor mill is turning and turning hard. A lot of things being thrown at us. We're going to try and break down some of the more interesting things that have been speculated upon or slightly leaked. Ooh, we don't know if it's actually a leak or if it's just something someone's on a practice server. You never know till something real comes out. But yeah, we're going to get into all of that. But before we do have to thank the people who make this show so special, make it available on audio-only platforms, and also fund some other content. Those are the members. Do have some changes down there. You'll see some additional names to the Court Honor Roll and a new Court contributor. So XL, Romich, Amnesiac, and Dylan CS all get access to their own podcast, which is a members-only podcast called the Contributor Podcast. They get to dictate the topics. They get to come on and argue and talk with me if they want to. It's run by them, dictated by them. It's their show. But yeah, members also get access to the King's Court interviews, the BTS segments. So we just completed a little bit of actual roster leak information in that. I'm surprised. Usually we don't leak too much, or we don't have too much to leak, but we did have some stuff to talk about behind the scenes. It's a bit more private. And then, of course, any other content that is live and gets saved as a VOD doesn't usually get released publicly. It does get released to members. They also get access to the Q&A and other nice stuff, and generally just, they run the channel. It's theirs as much as it's mine sometimes. Quack, got anything to promo before we get into all of the lovely roster talk, top 10 talk, top 20 talk, and other nonsense?
Read all my stuff. It's on TLDR and Fragbite. I'll be on because Jack has very dramatically, no, not dramatically, in a very solemn episode of the Overtime on Inferno podcast, he has left the role of podcast co-host, and I've taken his place. So I'll have to grow out my beard to fit the bill, and as I very dramatically acted out, because that was an act, guys. In the episode, I will now be doing 2 weekly news podcasts about Counter-Strike. And yeah, those you can find on TLDR's YouTube channel, on YouTube, and in the newsletter and everything. Check out Fragbite's socials, because we've done some pretty fun stuff over the weekend. We had the finals of our Counter-Strike League wrapped up. And I was the content guy, and we did some really fun content. Like, who in Swedish Counter-Strikes looks maxes the most?
Obviously you. Just... I mean,
yeah.
You look at that jawline, the hair, the muscularity, the leanness. Like, you have it all.
Did you know
have it all.
Yeah, I'm basically clavicular. You know, I actually walked into... on day 1, I walked into Johnny Speed's prac room just to, like, talk to them. And I was like, hey, I wanted to do a little bit of a pre-game interview with you guys, just so you know. Or, like, into their actual game room. And I overheard Nock being like, yo, Titulus, clavicular is in Sweden. Awesome, man. It's like, oh, it's awesome. It was actually really fun. It was an extremely fun event. We had lower tier, like, we had lower tier players than we were originally hoping, because Alliance and Eyeballers, who were obviously eligible to play the league, they got the Chinese invite. So, but that was also really fun, because now we've actually had a pretty deep impact on VRS. Like, the way it's looking, there will be 9 on the next official VRS. There's going to be 9 rosters with the Swedish core that are ranked. Like, yeah, that's fucking insane. That's not counting Metasport. That's not counting like OG, who could have signed another Swede and become 3. And you know, pending heroic changes, it might end up being 8. But at the moment, it's like we have a bunch of good Swedish teams. Like Rethink as well, just won a LAN, their first LAN title in over a year. And it was actually versus good opposition, because they beat everybody at the event, including Johnny Speeds. We had pretty deep fucking impact. And given, I posted this on Twitter, given that we also host the Swedish Cup in the second season, we've basically made a bunch of teams eligible for invites there. So it's like, yeah, fucking Swedish CS is eating good thanks to us. So yeah, nice.
Swedish CS eating good. Maybe it's the death of the iconic Scandinavian nicotine build. We'll find out soon enough. Let's get into it. Top 20 players of this first season of 2026. We're going to begin, of course, right at the back end. This is the June 20. Quack, shall we do it in chunks of 5? Is that how we want to go about this?
Yeah. Do you have honorable mentions?
I actually don't. I didn't bother because I did my prep in advance rather than last second. So I didn't bother to write down all this other crap and have to panic and do it all. I did it on the train like 2 days ago. So tell me, if you have honorable mentions, let me know and I'll tell you if they're on my list and then disagree with you and argue with you.
I figured that's what I was going to do. So I have 5. These were players that I basically looked at their stuff, thought about it, and I was like, maybe these guys can make the list. But then in the end, they basically ended up being ranked 21st and below. ZywOo is one I put in my honorable mentions. I think he's been good, but it's basically one good run, and he's been overshadowed by his teammate quite aggressively, so he didn't quite make the list. Luchov was fucking amazing in 2 events. But that's too few. Even in the pre-show, we were talking about sample size and like how deep can Lato make it. But he's actually played 6 events, and Luchov has played, I think he's played 2 or maybe 3. And yes, he made playoffs in both. It was the major and it was the other one, Atlanta, I think it was. The one where they beat Vitality. No, they didn't beat Vitality. Anyway. Those events, basically. And that's cool and all. Do it again in the fall season, you might make my actual top 20. But at this point, it's a little bit too late. Stare. Yeah. Stare is an honorable mention for me. I think compared to some of the players compared to some of the players I have above him, he's just a little bit mediocre, and especially in playoffs. His playoff record is pretty bad. Pretty much everybody I have above him has a better playoff record, either in terms of deep runs or rating or both. And I can say context, given the context of like who Astralis are, I think Stare could make the list. Fuzi's actually not in my honorable mentions. I think he's dipped a little bit too hard.
Good, because Fuzi has had a bit of a rough season. Like the focus has been more on like Ryu, and his numbers have been very poor. But Fuzi as well has hardly been perfect for the entire season. He had his moments at the start, but over the course of the season, it has been a little bit iffy. Yeah,
so he was there. I think this guy only made honorable mentions because in my head, I was like, yes, he's a lock-in for top 20. And then I actually looked at all the stats and I was like, man, he's kind of shit. Yekindar. Because my impression of Yekindar is he's a 1.05 something, but he ends up being a 115 in playoffs. But then I looked at it and it's like, playoff record is pretty mid.
Like, he's not in my top 20. He's a player I saw on Maui's list, like towards the bottom end, and I was like, yeah, if you sneak him in just because of like playoff volume, I guess, because he has played enough in playoffs that he's gathered like 2 borderline EVP quality runs, and you're like, maybe for that reason I can sneak him in. But for me, Yekindar's not had the season required to be in the top 20. He's not been terrible by a long shot. I think the biggest fall off for Furia has been a combination of like Yuri's play and Fallen's read. Like I think those are the 2 things that they lacked this season compared to the season before. Because Case-Rato and Molodoi, sure you can argue about some playoff drops, but they've been generally good enough. It's more of a question of those other pieces. So yeah, Yekindar, no, I don't have him in my top 20. He probably would sit in the top 25 somewhere, maybe at 25. Again, just because of the volume of playoff play, that just some of it had to be good almost.
Yeah. And my final honorable mention, he's played 2 MVP events in the year, which is way too little to make the list, but he's been good at both of them. They've beaten very good opponents at both of them, and he's been very good in those games. It's Mayonnaise.
Magno, yes.
Didn't make the list. 2 events is just too few, but like he made playoffs in both of them. It's Atlanta and Cologne. He's but like you could average this out to a 110. I think it averaged 111 is what it ends up at. The CT side is fucking insane, but like in those events, he's beaten Foot, he's beaten Falcons, he's beaten Mongols, he's beaten Vitality even, and that's great, especially when his ratings are good in those games as well. Compared to the people I have above him, 2 events is just a little bit too few.
Yeah, no, he's got nowhere near the sample. I'm not super bothered about sample, but for me, there's always like a minimum threshold.
Yeah.
He doesn't even come close to it. Like, I just can't.
No.
So yeah, no, fair enough. I don't hate those honorable mentions. I also don't hate using honorable mentions for low sample players, just to give them the shout out they deserve, especially when they've been so individually brilliant. Manoy is a perfect example.
Yeah,
he's been sensational at the events we've seen him at. He's become an incredibly hyped up player because of it. I mean, he was already kind of hyped by the tier 2 guys, by the tier 1.5 guys, even the occasional tier 1 analyst who saw like the brief moments you'd have played big teams have those memories just like seared in of this ultra sort of effective player at every stage of the round. So yeah, it makes sense to talk about him just as the official top 20. I don't think he's been able to do enough.
If you extended that 2-event performance and replicated it for like the 2 previous events as well, or I bet we weren't even attending, but like if they were and he played as well there, he's like a lock-in for top 15 at this point in the season for me. But he's just not quite there. No. I thought this list was really tricky. There's a bit like we're going to get to that. There's a very clear top 3, and then the rest I actually had to. Look. You thought about the list way harder than I did, and we're going to have disagreements over that. So there might be a couple of moments where I think, yes, actually you were right here, but I did like. It's hard to split some of these apart, and like where maybe my first thought was, yes, this player is obviously like 14th, but then I looked at them, it's like they might be 6th when I compared to some of the others. So. Yeah,
we'll get into it then, because that's an absurd statement to start this on. All right, 20 to 15, or 20 to 16 rather, the first 5 players. I'm going to run through mine quickly just to open up here, because I'm going to name them all. Then we're going to quickly, I think, turn around and be like, hold the fuck on, what's gone on here? Because I think there's some controversial names just off rip. So I have at 20 Demon. I think some people have him higher, I've seen. Some people don't have him on their top 20s. I just think Foot's run, he's been massive in the big runs and the big games. Like, if they've had a big win, Demon's been a part of it more often than not. He's not been overall consistent. He does struggle for consistency quite a lot. Like, that's the Demon story, and it's one of those cases where I don't feel like he's the best set-up player on this team, but he just gets the work done. Right above him, this is the one that's going to confuse and fuck with people, I think. I have ZywOo. I actually put ZywOo in at number 19. 18, I have Stare. You had honorable mentions. I was like, he's just played too much good CS, like good CS. There's not that much that's great, but just too much good CS not being there. Then Molodoy and Shiro, a 17, 16. Both really nice group stage numbers. Gone fishing as soon as the stage comes around for the majority of events they played. And I'm not interested in giving them excuses when I have such insane performances out of my AWPers at the higher level. Like, there's a lot of MVP AWPers right now. Like, there's 3 guys who are MVPs who are AWPers. Those 2 have just fallen short, I think, this season in the playoffs, and have been very inconsistent. Now, it doesn't feel great about it, but everyone I have ahead of them has been more consistent across both phases of tournaments. Like, has not seen huge plummets in their performance. And if Shiro showed up to bat a little more often, I think we're not talking about a Spirit who are massively disappointing, unable to win anything. Like, we'd be having very different conversations. Shiro's been abysmal in most playoff games, and his group stage numbers aren't even so insane that you have to have him there. So those are some controversial picks, I know. I don't love my 104 and 108 rated AWPers. Like, in playoffs, those are what they are. That's just not enough.
Molodoy is fair. He's not that far off my own placement. But, like, Shiro, I think, is a little bit harsh. Because, yes, he has some big drop-offs if you look at the playoff rating overall. Like, his Rio playoff rating is awful. His Pro League is a 0.74, but that's only one match. But then you also look at their Astana win. He's a 119 in playoff. Krakow, they came 3rd. He's a 120. And in the major, he was a 113 in playoffs.
Yeah, he's 113. Like, that's already a dip. Like, we're not talking about... We're not talking about an elite playoff performance.
No, but like a 120 in the other 2. 119 and 120.
Enough. For me, it's not enough. Bad. He's just not been good enough.
I don't know. I'm not going to say that I have him top 5, but like putting him sub 15, I think is just a
he
little
is
bit.
A primary AWPer. Like, I'm not interested.
I'm very curious about. Okay, so I'll tell you. So your list had Demon ZywOo.
Yeah. ZywOo was a bolt of, like, it hit me and I couldn't take it out of my head.
I don't hate it. He didn't make my list. I didn't even consider him. I just felt that Paravision were too weak outside of the 2 events that they played well, where I didn't even consider any of the Paravision players. Just
he's the only one. He's the only one who got any consideration. Remember, they made They made 3 top 4s, 4 playoffs, of 2 finals. It's not like he has insane numbers, but remember, he is not one of the main stars of this roster, and yet despite that, bangs people out. And we're kind of in a overperforming role player kick right now, so I'm part of it as well. I can't lie.
Yeah. Demon also didn't make my list because I just looked at his overall average numbers, I think, and I just felt that like, or maybe I just glossed over him on the list, to be honest, because I forgot about him completely until now. I've got his teammate in, which you can guess which one that is. What is his average, like his average number in MVP events? His playoff average is a 111.
Yeah, his regular number's like a 105, but it's one of those things where he is so ridiculously he's just so ridiculously performant in those one-off games, you know, and he's had luckily more of those in playoffs than groups.
I don't hate that. I don't hate the pick overall. I just didn't put him in.
That's fair.
I think that's fair.
I did think my 15 to 20. I said my 16 to 20 is where I was least comfortable, least happy with anything. So that's the vibe I've gone with.
My 20, who I locked in pretty early as my the guy I was going to pivot around for my 20, is Rez, actually, because that's also it's the Magnus thing, where if he extrapolated the performances he's had over an entire season, I definitely put him. He'd be borderline top 10, to be honest. But he only played the 3 MVP events. He made playoffs in all 3 of them. Like he was, depending on how you count Blast Bounty, but like he made it to the finals event, and he played a very good match there, even if he lost. In Blast Bounty, they only played 1 playoff match, but he was stellar in the groups. And then in Atlanta, it's that Atlanta run as well. He gets kind of, we're going to get to this, but he gets the Lato effect there, where he just played such a good event where nobody below him had a run like that. So that's why he sort of had to go in 20th for me. So Rez, maybe he didn't make your list.
He didn't make my list, no. Just didn't play a whole lot this season. Like when I thought about, like the numbers, the averages are decent. It's just I thought about the season. I didn't think about Rez. You know, I barely thought about game legends. Like they showed up right at the start and, you know, kind of iffy. And then they had some iffy lands that were much smaller than MVP level. Then they finally start to climb back up and have that one little event, right at the end, that Atlanta appearance. And that just didn't seem to me as significant enough. But no, I understand it. I can't disagree with it given who I've put in my damn list.
Nope. But that's only my 20. And holy shit, I've just broken my... let me just fix this real quick. It's fucking hot, man. It's fucking warm. We've had like 32-degree weather. It's insane. And I rode on a train for 4 hours with no AC. And it was delayed because people were running on the tracks. If you did that, fuck you! Holy shit! I hate you so much. That was my 20. Above him, Jukes.
Okay.
He's probably on your list. I would assume you put him above Demon. Yep.
I did.
It's just one of those things where I looked at it and there's a couple of drop-offs that weigh him down. But he's consistently pretty good across the season. He's good. They've won an event. He's been pretty good in playoffs. It's just a little bit too small in terms of the top end. He only made 2 playoffs and he was pretty bad in one of them, which was Pro League. Yeah, like that Navi series.
They're so often like one game from playoffs, aren't they? This FUT team. That's why.
That's how it's going to have to be.
You look at playoffs and it's like they've only got 2 players, but you're like they've played all these events. They played really close games against all these top teams. Like they beat top teams left and right. So it's going to feel a bit off. Yeah, because everyone's going to have at least 1 FUT player in their top 20.
Yeah. But that's how it's going to have to be. We've only had 12 MVP events, and most teams have only attended like 6 or fewer. So it's going to have to be like that. It's going to have to be like that. So Jokes ended up being down there, partially sample size, partially just a shitty Pro League event. Another player who I don't think has made your list, and like now that I'm looking at it for a second time, maybe he should have been behind Jokes, but it's 9-10.
9-10. Okay.
Consistently good events. Again, they've played 8 MVP events, and he's been consistently good in all but 2 of them. And they haven't had the playoff record that they had last year. They haven't been quite as good. They've still been here and there. I think he does pretty good. He does good work.
I can't really hate it too much because he has been the
No.
best part of this team, and they've been pretty
Yeah.
dysfunctional. And his group plays pretty strong. The playoffs are strong enough, and he has the occasional like pretty good run.
Yeah.
No, I don't hate it. It's just for me.
Uh,
Yeah, I struggled to like see Mongols as one of my teams.
Yeah.
That defined the season. Even though they were present quite often, they just never posed enough of a threat and never gave me enough excitement. So I understand why I overlooked them.
Yep.
9-10 probably again from my spot 16 down. I think all of these inclusions would be fair.
Yep. Another consistency pick.
Hmm.
Maybe he's higher on your list, to be honest. Wicadia. Wicadia, who ends up being in my, what is this? 2019, 18, 17. Consistently very good in pretty much every single MVP event they've played. They've made playoffs in all but one, as far as I can see. And he's been pretty good there as well. The thing is that like the best team they've beaten is the Mongols in playoffs. In playoffs, the best team they've beaten is the Mongols. They beat Legacy, Astralis, Mongols, and Betboon. That's all their playoff wins. And he's very good in all of them. He drops a stinker against Vitality, a stinker against Furia, a stinker against Na'Vi, a stinker against Vitality again. He's decent against Mounts, but they don't win, and then another stinker against Furia. It's just not... That's a playoff record which... Given, like, again, this was something we talked about in the pre-show. If it was a full year, I'd value consistency above peaks, and Wicadia would probably surpass some of the people above him. But because we're only looking at the first season, consistency doesn't rank quite as highly for me yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I think for me, there's a part of me that just ignores the playoff disappointments from him, like in terms of his ratings, just because I am like, he's playing with a fucking like blown out hammy when it comes to playoff matchups against big teams because they are just so limited relative to those top dogs. But no, fair enough. I do have him on the list, but I understand having him this low.
And probably my most controversial pick, unless there's been one more controversial before it, I've put Keisarato as my 16. He's been, like, look, you look at the averages, and you think this guy's like top 10, surely. His playoff average is pretty damn mid. A lot of the runs,
that's the
he's
Furia
not that
problem,
good
isn't it? Yeah.
A
lot of these guys.
Like, his best playoff rating in an event is in Rio, where he played a single playoff game before being eliminated. Third place deciders, even I don't count them in this place. And it's just meaningless. He's good in one game and they lose it. And best win they have is against Spirit. He's not much of a factor in that game. It's a pretty mid rating in that game. It's just not that good. They lose to Vitality and he's shit. They lose to Falcons and he's decent, but like it's not enough. Another Falcons loss in the grand final of the major, obviously, where he gets fucked. And yeah, it's just not good enough. The averages are nice, but I mean, like you said, you don't get paid for group stages. So yeah, that's my 20 to 16.
Yeah, okay. I don't think that Keisarato pick is that controversial. I don't think it's that insane. What might be more controversial is like where I've placed him relative to other people. That might be the more controversial part if you've put someone ahead of him, like I have, people might not be as big a fan of. But yeah, understandable. Let's go right into 15 to 14 now because we've set up some dominoes need knocking over. For myself, I'm just going to go through them. 15, Jugs, that's where I put him. I have him slightly higher. I valued a lot of his play. Again, support player playing beyond his level, his expectation rather. I have Keisarato at 14.
We're not that far
not too far off.
No. Nice.
The placement of these next two players is going to piss people off. Or the next three players in a row, I think, is going to piss people off. But I have Wicadia at 13, Heavy God at 12, Bit at 11.
You're not that far off of me. A lot of these players are to come, but I don't hate that.
I think the big one is Heavy God, because Heavy God feels like he should be like one of the, like in terms of, if we're just talking about theoretically, like just what he adds to a team, Heavy God should be way higher. In practice, though, we don't actually have a whole lot of playoff play from him. It's not exactly spectacular. I talked about this pre-show when I was talking with you about something. Like he has 3 playoff matches, all 3 are losses, which is not really his fault. But not a single one does he cross a 0.61 KPR. Like his average in playoffs is 0.58. Like he just hasn't been very productive in playoffs this season. And even those group stages are absurd. Like he's a 118 as a like anchory lurker. There's always caveats. There's always things that I've brought up with Heavy God where it's like the numbers are good, but talking about him as a true bitch support isn't quite right. Like I've always thought that that's always gone a bit overhyped, so that's why I think he has to be this low. For a guy who does get some setup, he does get the to play at his pace. In those 3 playoff games, he doesn't perform anywhere close. He still has that bullshit way higher than expected Heavy God rating because he still has those big rounds. He still has like a 1v3. He's still Heavy God, but it's nowhere near as effective as I'd like it to be. And he's even in losses, he does more in groups than he has done in playoffs. You know, so I think it's right to keep him outside of the top 10. And then Bit, again, fantastically consistent this season. Just doesn't have. I think a run that I needed to see to put him in the top 10. I think my top 10 all have like that one run where I'm like, damn, absolutely awesome. Bit doesn't quite have it.
Right. Fair. Was that all? Was that your 15 to 11 or did you miss one?
That's my 15 to 11. It's Jugs, Case Rato, Wicardio, Heavy God, Bit.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, fair. I don't hate it. My next one is actually Heavy God, so I've actually put him lower than you. But that is again the thing with peak versus consistency. He's consistent. They don't win in playoffs. He doesn't peak nearly as high as I think anyone above above him on my list. He is like in terms of the players I would say are consistency picks for me. He's the highest. So thumbs up for that. He's the best player on G2. And yeah, G2 just haven't had that good of a time. I've put Xertion next, and I think you've put him higher. But I've put him here. Or you've missed him completely. Xertion, we all know, as soon as he became a caller, fucking stellar for Mouse. Actually carried them to runs in Astana and CAC. That's great. He was mediocre for the rest of the year. But that peak is just so peak that he had to go on the list somewhere, and it ended up being here. Even bigger peak with a smaller sample size. This is where I've put Lato, so he would be my 13. It's Atlanta and CAC in terms of great runs, beating just one event before the major. He beats the eventual major champions in a grand final. That's insane, and the way he did it is insane. Completely overshadows Dumao. Basically, makes sure he's not going to be on the thing or on the list. Do this for the second half of the season, I might put Lato in like my top 7. Like he's that insane, to be honest.
The numbers are crazy. Like, the numbers are crazy. So it's
the numbers are fucking insane. Yeah. Next up is where I've put Molodoy, so I've put him higher than you. I think it's mostly because I looked at Keserato, and then I looked at like who's actually winning the games that they win, and it's Molodoy. And look, maybe it's slightly overrated now that I revisit it, but yeah, that's where I put him. And another controversial pick, my 11, someone I think you have higher is Wonderful, who I think has been wonderful. He's been wonderful in the year. It's great, but he's my 11 because it is just as much as I've rewarded the peaks. His overall average is pretty ass compared to some of the players above him.
It's a 119 in playoffs. What do you mean?
Yes, but his overall average is just a little bit here and there.
You are a human group stage merchant. What do you mean?
This one, he absolutely could have gone higher. Like I know, like I said, I didn't spend that much time on it. He could have gone way higher. Mogged Vitality in Atlanta. That's nice.
I think that's insane. Look, I will admit, Xertion, I probably should have had him in my 16 to 20 range. Like I did sort of overlook him at that point. I think having him this high is crazy generous. Like he's shit to the point where they need to make fucking changes. He's a part of the reason they need to make fucking changes. Like he's genuinely ass. And then they give him like the keys to call, and he's like, "Fucking hell, who's a new star? Boys flash for me. I'm running out mid." Like, I
doesn't change the fact that he's been fucking amazing. Like
he's had 2 absolutely stellar CT events, which is just crazy. And you know, the jokes write themselves. But I can't with I couldn't. Exertion to me wasn't. wasn't the story of
I think
of the season, and like his average for the year in playoffs is still at 103. Like he was that awful to start the year. Like he's 4 straight events of straight shit. The fact that Wonderful, who has been straight gas at pretty much every event Na'Vi have played, especially once it gets to the stage, is basically in the same breath, I think is a bit nuts. Like I think that's nuts.
Let me just say for Wonderful, in terms of beating like the big teams, he hasn't played Falcons in playoffs. He hasn't played Spirit in playoffs.
It's not really his fault. He's played Vitality like 7 times or something stupid.
He's played Vitality in playoffs 4 times, was shit in 3 of them, but he won 1 of them in Atlanta. That's nice. That's the peak which gets him up here. I probably could have put him lower, I could have put him higher. I realize it's controversial, but that's where I've put him. I actually have a teammate of his higher up.
Well, I can't say boo.
2 even! Woo!
Wait, you have 2?
No, I'm kidding.
If you dare. We're ending the show now, and sorry. Overtime on Inferno is not the only show needing a new co-host.
Here, Jack's available.
Yeah, Jack, come on over. I need to replace this guy immediately.
No, we'll see. But hey, we play fast and loose on this show.
We do a little bit.
Break things.
We do a little bit.
Yeah.
We do have some crazy takes. But that would be insane. But yeah, that's the 20-11. I wish I'd had time, but unfortunately I have one of those jobs where I could have done a graphics. We could update it live on screen. But just to run you through my 20-11, so you can be properly like pissed and not have to remember everything. So when you write your comment telling me I'm an idiot and I should have had Xertion at 16 and that whatever the hell else was terrible, mine is from 20-11. Demon's Way, Stare, Molodoi, Shiro, Jugs, Keserato, Wakadia, Heavy God, Bit. Just to be honest, in the groups of 5 they're in, I could see some shuffles. Quack, your list 20-11 quickly so we can get into the next segment.
Rez, Jugs, 9-10, Wakadia, Keserato, Heavy God, Xertion, Lato, Molodoi, and Wonderful. And I could also see some moves. It's a shame you couldn't do graphics. Remember, viewers, that's because not enough of you are members.
Thank you, Quack. Yes, we only need, at the rate we're at right now, about maybe 40 times more members.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it. So then how many before I start to get paid as well?
51. 51 times more. 51 times more.
Get going, boys. I know you guys have money.
I fucking hell. I mean, let's get to the next segment. We're talking Rostermania. Yeah, we're going to bring up the Eternal Shuffle graphic, but this is not the Eternal Shuffle. This is the Rostermania Rumour Mill. We're talking about all the rumours. We're going to speculate about these. I think I'm still going to try and grade them a bit, but we're mostly just going to be talking about the generic sort of ideas that could be at play here, what the further implications are. Quack, start me off. What's the first thing on the list?
Foot are potentially considering to sign Sun Pius to replace Symmetry. Symmetry is the worst part of Foot, even if he's been decent at times. He won an MVP. He's probably the worst part of Foot. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy because I looked. The first thing I looked to get ideas for my top 20, just to get some general ideas. Like, wait, who has an MVP this season? Just to make sure I don't stupidly overlook something or miss it from my context. And I saw Symmetry there. I was like, he's not fucking making the list. Straight away, it's like no, Lord, no, it cannot be allowed to happen. So yeah,
but they want to sign Sun Pius, or are reportedly looking at replacing him with Sun Pius. Thoughts about that?
It's just a straight upgrade. I mean, I had some back and forth with Ted about role and system stuff. Mostly that was done over Discord because we like each other. So yeah, I think it's just an obvious upgrade, Like, I think for Sun Pius, it's obviously a downgrade as far as going from G2 to Foot in terms of prestige. But as far as Foot on the way up right now, and if he comes to this team and they still have Krabany, Jugs, and Demon, xCloud allegedly coming in or has come in, I can't remember which position we're at for that. Like, that's just it might end up being an upgrade if G2 don't somehow make this wrinkle signing work. So it might end up being a double upgrade. I think it certainly is for Foot. Symmetry is a problem. He does have a certain style I think is fun for the team, like his CT aggression, but on T side he is a bot. He's not particularly productive with the AWP. Has a few clutches with the rifle. That's become a famous talking point. Started by me, I decided just now. But they really lacked firepower in that spot because he's just, CT side, he's just inconsistent. Like, he doesn't hit all his shots. He takes the opening risks, but then dies a lot. And I think some players will just be able to do a better version of that sort of CT role than on T side. Some players is a bot on a rifle. He's not been very productive on that side. But it's not going to be that big a deal. It's not going to be that big a downgrade, if any. And he'll have, I think, a lot more confidence, a lot more like calmness and just experience at the top level, to where I think it's going to all work out and is in their favor. I just checked the numbers. Yeah, we're going from, oh my god, Symmetry on CT side and full by rounds to 0.7 KPR, which you're like, well, that's okay. No, it's not. For an AWPer, that's fucking terrible. He's far behind some Pius. He's far behind the Wok 6, the Torjis even. Torjis had a dog season, and Torjis ahead of that. Like, this is a clear upgrade, a clear benefit. Foot, they're gonna be very good with him.
Yep. Might be. But they will also be making other changes. Lonix is reportedly exploring his options, thinking that he can do better than Foot. And that's who xFloud is rumored to be replacing.
I'm not sure he can do better than Foot. I like that framing.
Let me just start with that. Put Lonix somewhere else.
Ooh. The problem is, there's something I've talked about before when we talk about valuing Foot players. He's in probably the most like easy to fill role. Hence why Foot have immediately gone, oh, we'll take xFloud, and everyone's gone, yeah, all right. Like, no one's crying about it. Like, there is a pretty large number of somewhat talented, aggressive riflers who can do the job. It's not like Lonix is the best opener in the world or even close to it. He's been solid. He's probably in the top, like, 10. Maybe. Like, it's somewhere like, it's something like that where it's like, Lonix isn't the most in-demand piece in terms of the entire scene. As far as where he could go, depends on who needs players. And depends on how people want to change, if and how people want to change roles. I wouldn't hate him, honestly, coming into FaZe. And it's either to, like, replace Jacob. Yeah, it's probably just to replace Jacob. Like, that would be not a terrible idea, I think, for FaZe and for him in particular. But no, he's not like a must sign for anyone. Like, you don't go through, like, maybe big if you think JDC can't hang at the top level for the spots he has. That might be the best option. Do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's not like his role is majorly in demand. Aurora don't need him. Let's be clear. Maybe G2 could take him if they have a real IGL and want Matisse out of the aggressive roles. You know? But I don't think it's going to be... I don't think it's going to be a open season for him.
Yeah, there's other teams making changes. Like we talked in the pre-show about potentially, well, another thing we're coming to. But anyway, Aurora don't need him. FaZe, honestly, like it would have to be for Jacob. But
yeah, and it's a hard sell, I think, right now. I don't think they're too interested in ditching him.
No. Oh. How about an AP for Cairn? Or is that not a role match?
That's, yeah, no. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I can't think of anybody else, to be honest. xFloud to replace him, is he good enough? Because I would say that xFloud's probably worse than Lonix, but he'll do a good job.
I don't think he's dramatically worse. That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
I think he's more streaky than Lonix. xFloud famously very streaky.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's that much worse. And I think playing alongside Crabini always, I think would probably help him a little bit as well to be more consistent.
Yeah.
Just as far as how much opening work Crabini likes to do and how aggressive he likes to be. I see it as being a pretty good place for him. And yeah, far from a downgrade.
Yeah, it's not bad. Speaking of Aurora, where he won't be playing, the rumor is that they will sign Ash, and this is the first part. This is the only part of that rumor that we had in like March or April, which has actually been confirmed. Which is that originally then it was supposed to be Alexi B, Ash, and Molodoy coming into the team. And then another rumor was that Aurora and Foot were just gonna straight up swap rosters, which is fucking insane. Because Foot are a Turkish org, but the idea was that they were just gonna straight up swap their rosters. So the Foot team became Aurora, and Aurora became Foot. But that quickly died down. Anyway, the only part of this we've actually had confirmed is Ash, or reportedly confirmed, is that Ash should join Aurora. Thoughts? I think we talked about this last week, but let's just
Probably
mention it now. Yeah, because it would have been reported before the major playoffs.
The Faber major duo hadn't exactly been inspiring a lot of confidence for a long time. No. I do think that's it feels like it should be an upgrade, right? It might need to come with an IGL change. That's another thing we've kind of talked about. But on paper, you tell me you cut Faber and you bring in Ash. I hardly see it being worse as far as the level of coaching and like the way he's going to get, like, especially out of his riflers, get them performing. So yeah, should be good.
Thumbs up. Legacy are reportedly replacing their Opper, and it's reportedly going to be Try. Now, it was never reported that they were looking at NQZ, I think. But they've basically decided to go for Try from now Imperial rather than Passion UA. So, yeah. I'll speak for you. That's a straight up upgrade. 100%.
Hard to see it as anything else. Sadzin's been uninspiring. I like Try. I think he's got a very complete set of skills. It's always tough for me because I do feel like I look back sometimes on my takes about Try and I'm always like, it's always the team, it's always the project, it's never Try. Considering in 2026 Try is a 0.88 KPR in full buys,
it is the team.
It's kind of has been the team. So yeah, let my boy go free. I'm sure it'll be good.
Yep. And more interestingly, they've obviously benched Nissim. This happened. This was talked about in last week's episode.
CT KPR, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And they were reportedly trying to get Insani, which has not happened, which is wise. I'll just mention what we said on Overtime on Inferno is, if you're Insani, your contract is up at the end of the year, reportedly. When you know that there is a guaranteed roster change in the top Brazilian team, and you're Insani, why would you sign a new contract with anybody right now when, like, Insani is on the table for Furia 100%. So why? He's definitely one of the shortlisted players because they want to keep the Brazilian core. They're losing a Brazilian player unless they make a second change for Yakinder or Molodoy. Then who else would you want to sign other than Insani? So yeah, like Legacy with Try and Insani would have been insane, but that's not happening. So my question to you, King T, who could they get? Who could Legacy get in terms of a rifle upgrade on Nissim?
There's not a lot, if any, that I know of. Nissim was great for his roles. Like, the fact that he was even being talked about as being replaced was crazy to me. I just didn't get that. And I didn't think Insani would be a good fit. I thought it would have to be a really weird sort of combination of moves to try and make it happen, or like changes to the way the roles are distributed. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense for me to, if I'm Legacy, to do that. So keeping Nissim would be ideal. Replacing him, I'm not sure who with. I really don't see who with. I think it's a downgrade no matter who you replace him with. So that's not great for them.
It's really hard to say. I guess what you could maybe go for is you go for like something. Let's try to get somebody talented and make them into a role player. Because Nissim originally was like when he was playing tier 3 shit, when he was on Kase, if you remember that team. I was really high on him because he had some nuts stats considering he was on a team with like a 33% map win rate in Europe. And he was still dropping insane ratings. But like I think So then you might go for like, hey, could we go for maybe like a Pyria Junior or something and just make him into a support player? But no, I don't think that's going to be a pretty good idea. So whoever places spots on Sharks is not good enough to win more than one match at Major. The LP guys who are next up ranked behind Sharks and by HLTV ranking is just got signed by a different org. You're looking like you're going down the list and like you go to like Fluxo names or Galoris names or Bounty Hunters and it's not very inspired. But hey, maybe they could do it. If they were eyeing up Insani, then I'm guessing they could kind of go for whoever the fuck they want, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, Liquid have listened to everybody's prayers. They are looking to get rid of both Shui and Ultimate. Nice. And never has that one World War II reaction image been more relevant. They are reportedly eyeing up JT as their new in-game leader. Reportedly, they want to. They also want to get TC in as the coach. I don't know. This has been rumored here and there. It's either that JT wants to bring TC and Liquid don't wanna, or it's that Liquid want, but it's difficult because of Passion being what they are at the moment. Yeah, that's kind of irrelevant. Let's forget about the coach part. Let's say Shui for JT. JT was destined to go to Liquid. It might finally be happening.
Yeah, it's one of the things where I've always liked how JT teams play, and then I've also just not liked how Shuhei's Liquid has played, like, at all. So how could I not be in favor of this? No, it seems it had to be done in some way, and yeah, it's not something you can really be like super 100% like locked in on, just in terms of will it work with this roster? Is this the team buying in? Is it gonna yada yada? But they had to try something, and I think the flashy Shuhei combo wasn't working. Someone had to go, or both. I was endorsing both being cut earlier in the season. There's at least one domino fallen, so we'll see.
Second domino's Ultimate. Reported the original rumor, I think, was from KRL somebody, that they were looking at either Symmetry or Jorko to be put in for Ultimate.
Yeah. Ultimate needs
Symmetry's
to be
like the most minor upgrade possible. Like,
yeah, it's about as. It's confusing, really, that Symmetry rumor. And Jorko, it's like, Jorko, we don't have any sort of tape on him in terms of high-level competition. Do you know what? I'm just going to say this. There's more options being examined by Liquid. And I don't think either one of these is... Well, I don't think Jorko is very likely. That'd be a crazy reach. He's 17, for crying out loud. Like, I don't think it'd make any sense, let alone... do I have anyone telling me it's definitely going to happen? So that's a bit of a crazy one. Definitely, they've probably pracked with him, tried him, or something like that. But I don't think Jorko's likely at all. That'd be crazy. He's too young. He's too untested.
Yep. And dropped today from German CS leaks. Not super reliable. Which the Symmetry's out of the picture, and they're looking at either Jorko or Slend. Slend, I don't hate. Like, to be honest, it might be a bit too early.
That's one of the big names I had heard was the other option. That's what, like, it's in, like, I'd heard Slend, and I was like, considering, it's not that bad. Yeah, it feels weird to recycle a Gamer Legion AWPer.
Yeah,
but
so fucking, like, he's been so fucking good for.
When you compare the other, who's he's got, the competition, it's Slend, Symmetry, Jorko, like, nothing's looking solid
like,
in terms of Liquid options. Like, it's really off.
Yeah, those three play at very different levels. Like, you have Symmetry. I would say you have, in terms of level of play, it's Symmetry, Jorko, Slend. But like, none of the other two are dropping 120 ratings at even like their level. Let alone like, what does Jorko have? Like a 115 or something?
No, he's like a 109 or 107. Like, he's done a pretty rough time of things on this focus project.
Yeah, then honestly, that's a no-brainer for me. That's a no-brainer. It's got to be Slend. I would say it's maybe slightly too early. Like, if I was projecting what is Slend gonna do on Infinite, I was thinking he's gonna have a pretty good year on Infinite, and then maybe in the winter he gets a move back up to the top level. But yeah, anyway, that's the liquid move. It would be nice if it's Slend. Would be a nice, pretty cool thing. Now that I think about it, I think maybe Slend was an option for them earlier than that. In the last time they shuffled. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Luminosity reportedly already have Lux. This is something we have talked about before. They are reportedly talking with Monty, or rather with the Monty core, whose contracts are coming up. So that's going to be everybody except for everybody who's left except for Gizmy and Rainwaker. Well, yeah, everybody except for Gizmy and Rainwaker, basically, because Gizmy we'll get to. And potentially also Rainmaker as well, which would complete the roster. But since he has a new contract with Monty, that's not as easy as the ones expiring. So ZywOo, Afro, and Bimas together with Lux.
I mean, it's a good set of VRS points to work with. Lux, I don't think is the IGL that Gizmy is, but he's not had a terrible record. His legacy time, he got off to a really good start before the eventual it seemed like just heat death of the roster. They just gave up on everything till Art came back, or till Art came in. They were good, the year ended, the next year started, they just looked like a shell of themselves. Then Art comes in and they revive. I don't know what the hell that was all about. So we have some evidence Lux can lead a team to a decent level. Combined with Afro, who's been a revelation, Bimas, who's been decent, and then a ZywOo to complete the VRS core. No offense. I don't hate this mood for Luminosity.
No, yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, coming back to CS at rank 17 is good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great start. It's gonna, even if they have a string of pretty bad results, it's gonna take a long time before you actually fall out of that completely. And that core is playing really well already. Lux, even if he's not the best caller, Lux can frag to a decent level. He's not like a classic 0.9 IGL. So even if you end up in a situation where the calls aren't ideal, then at least you're not dragging along a Kerrigan level player individually. So you can kind of pug it out. They shouldn't fall too far. Honestly, that's great. If they get Rainwaker, if they get somebody else, would be interesting, but we'll see. And finally, the final part of that Monty core is, of course, or the Monty team is, of course, Gizmy, who has been eyed up by 100 Thieves and is very much anticipated to come in for a guild. We'll also get to later in the show.
Yeah, that's an interesting little move there to come in for a Gil. Kiss Reigns gets to stick around, but 100 Thieves, obviously, I think it's an IGL upgrade. Only someone had told them at the start of the year that signing players out of position and players to be coaches based on unrelated things would be a terrible idea, and they wouldn't see the success they needed to. And that probably they would make changes sooner than the end of the year. Who knows? Who could have seen that coming or said anything about that? They've pulled off a coup, though, to get Gizmy. If they have actually gotten Gizmy, which seems pretty likely given the amount of rumors and leaks, that's an incredible move to pull off. And I kind of have to hold my hands up. So it's who's going to join this team to go play fucking God knows what LAN? Apparently Gizmy. Apparently they've managed to pitch it to him. Or at least put enough zeros on a check to make him go, screw it. I can fall out of tier 1 relevance for a little bit.
Yeah. Gizmy just led a team of players who are by no means guaranteed to even be at the major. He led them to progress into stage 1 with wins over Legacy, Perivision, took map wins over Falcons, a map win over the Mongols. It's not a stellar record, but it's pretty good. If you're 100 Thieves, you haven't had results like that all year. So that's nice.
It's far better than what 100 Thieves has had. And people's ideas of his level of calling have been pretty positive. It's not just that he has the wins. It's also people watch the team and that mid-round call's sick. This call is pretty damn good. He also has the occasional frag. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, and remember, this is also in a time when in-game leaders are kind of in demand at a couple of other teams, or at least were candidates at a couple of other teams. So nice that you pulled off that move. But that's all the rumors that I know of. I don't think I've forgotten anything.
I mean, there's other stuff to talk about, but that's going to be in the actual main Eternal Shuffle section. I know in chat there was a lot of questions about other moves, those moves have been locked in for the most part,
Yeah.
that people have brought up, so they'll be in the actual Tunnel Shuffle. I threw on a big red Rumour on top just to clarify what we're doing right now. But let's get back into our end of season awards. We're now going to talk about our top 10 prospects right now. I think that's a pretty interesting thing to discuss. Obviously, we are big on prospects. Start at number 10. Quack, who do you have? Go from 10 to 6.
10 to 6. So above, just above wonderful, I have.
Prospects. Come on.
Oh, sorry, my bad. It's a good thing I didn't actually say the name. Yes, my top 10 prospects. Now, I basically kind of went through in the back of my mind, who have I been picking over the year? And yeah, starting at the bottom, this is the kind of guy that I just put in the sheet sometimes when I didn't see anything special happening, but this guy was just like on top of the stats sheet week in, week out. It's Phenomen. And yeah, the stats speak for themselves, to be honest. He's just one of those guys. He doesn't play the best opposition, but it's not like he farms local opposition at like some other players who end up top of that. Plays a shit ton of maps and just seems to be pretty damn good at what he does. So yeah, he makes my list in the 10th spot.
Fair enough. Like, yeah, the opposition quality is not insane. He played a lot of LAN. Played one LAN, and that LAN he played pretty well, to be fair. No, didn't he, like... Yeah, he's had a pretty big step up in terms of his output. Like, last year he wasn't really that productive for Cybershock. But this year he's had a great time, especially with Inox Division. And
yeah,
no, I don't hate the pick.
No, if he had these stats and he actually played like LANs, then he'd be significantly higher. But I think, as I recall, Cybershock benched him over something like something like visa issues that he had to resolve or whatever. So kind of strange. Do you want me to do my entire list, or
yeah, go 10 through 6, as I said.
Bist is one of them. Good year, good damn year. Tenzi is another one. The kind of run Magic had up there in
I didn't consider Tenzi because he's like 21.
Look, to be honest,
played too many real events. I said he played like
21 and played too many real events. For me, he's on the edge, but he's
obviously, I'm a huge fan of Tenzi. Like, I can't lie. If I thought he was eligible for my list in terms of Mike, I'd have had him like top 3. So
yeah,
kind of.
I'd also say Tenzi, where he started the year versus where he is now, I still think he kind of qualifies because he was just so far out of playing like a PGL event, a tier 1 event, at the start of the year with Magic. I think we're barely called Magic at the point, but just he kind of qualifies for me. Stomach, the Ukrainian player out of Heroic Academy, pretty mediocre team. They have basically one achievement. It's that they beat M80. This guy's fucking insane on both of the Heroic Academy rosters. He's the only guy who stuck around for both of them. So nice. Note, a player I've actually watched pretty closely on Young Ninjas because they were at one of the LANs that I worked. He was insane. I've kind of kept track of him for the rest of the time. Still kind of insane. He's been temporarily promoted to NIP just to fill Karen's spot, but I could see him staying. Like he can absolutely hang. Like if he can hang with that level of opposition with a step up, he's definitely good enough to stay on the team. So thumbs up, good job. Joe Cab, big step up this year in terms of joining Johnny Speeds at the end of the year. His own level, big step up. Some of these weeks that he's had have been huge, basically hard carrying that team to deep runs in online events and smaller lands. Very nice. J-Boners, rise up, bro. He's on phase now for the rest of the year. Thumbs up. Great player. Keep it going. Slacks Jez, another guy who I just saw pop up on the stats sheet. He's played over 200 maps in the year with an insane stat line. And now he's on Perivision, which has kind of made me go, okay, so he wasn't cheating. And now we'll see him, in 2 days, I think. We'll see him in China. Nice. Poi. He's still obviously one of the number 1 prospects.
Wait, which number are you at now? So I said 10 to 6.
2.
And you keep least... Hey, that's fucking... 10 to 6.
That's what I said!
Going.
Okay, I think I asked, do you want me to do the full list or should I keep going? And
I said 10 to 6, and then you just went off.
Yeah, all right. So good thing I saved my number 1. Poi is my number 2. Thumbs up. Great job.
Fucking real shock who it's going to be. He's fucking on screen. But yeah.
Go 10-2.
Right, I'll go 10-2. My 10 is Flauser.
Hear a lot about him. Haven't seen him.
I've seen a lot of him. Pretty fucking insane. I weirdly enough, I was like, 10Z too much. When I made the prospect 6, I was like, Grix though can still be on my fucking list. So Grix is my 9. Stormak at 8. I think Stormak's a pretty solid pickup as far as academy players. Jabone's at 7. I'm sorry, he's played nobody, and we'll talk about that more when we get to the phase actual edition. But he's played nobody, and that's just a real problem as far as being super high up on this list. He's been fantastic for Big Academy. I think he's got a really complete skill set. Like, he can hit AWP shots, rifle shots, pistol shots. I've seen him do everything. He's a genuine star, but he's just not played enough good opposition. At 6 is where I have ZywOo. He's played over 200 maps. It's like all online or like in Russia, I think, if it's LAN. Still want to see some more out of him before I give him more credit. At 5, I have ZywOo. He's still like 12. So for me, like, I had to leave him there. He's still a prospect and he's still fantastic. He's stepped up as Inner Circle have found their feet again. Because throughout, there was a period post like the Cairn loss, the Flyrax benching, where it was a bit like, what's going on with this team? But they finally, their whole story. But they just won Draculan, the digital Draculan.
Super Draculan,
sorry, yeah, whatever. And he's just generally kept up pretty good performances for a lot of this period, even when it has been rough. So I think ZywOo at 18 still has to be on this list. And then number 4 is where I have Poi. Number 3, I don't care that he played a bit with the main team of Mouse. Zelex for me is still a prospect. Like, just because you stand in with the main team doesn't disqualify you. And number 2, I have Sypho, who will replace Zontix and make Spirit great again.
Not bad.
My number 1 is the same as your number 1, so it's a big fucking surprise, isn't it? As I said, he's on fucking screen already.
Yeah. It's Quicks. It's Melo9. Do you know Quicks actually mogged the hell out of Melo9? Melo9 played for Lil Mix yesterday. Do you know that's how far he's fallen? Is that he's now playing stand-in for Lil Mix. No, but he's going back to Metasport most likely. He's been one of the most talked about players of the entire year in the entire world for good reason. He's absolutely insane. Wasn't able to stay in Alliance for reasons that, to remain impartial, I will say some would say are bullshit. And it looks like there's not going to be a good enough offer for him, so he's going back to Metasport. And if that move is going to happen, as far as I know, it should be announced on Wednesday. So there's a little thing for you. I don't know if it's actually happening, but just knowing the timeline of how he would return to the lineup, there's no reason why Metasport couldn't announce it by Wednesday. So yeah, you would make with that what you will. But yeah, I left look, Grix and Xelix are obviously stellar players who I would have put in. I just blanket disqualified anybody who played in the major, to be honest.
Yeah, I understand entirely. Yeah. It's fair enough. But yeah, no, Melo9 has to be number 1. We've had him as our prospect of the month like 2 or 3 times each, I think, as we've done this season.
Yeah, prospect of the month, yeah. I remember in January, he was just like so undeniable. It's just in all of the months, like fucking all of them. I think maybe he might have been my prospect of the month every month.
I don't think he quite reached that level, but it was close.
For me, he might have been that. He might have been. Yeah.
Crazy.
But anyway, hey, nice little reunion. Lil Mix playing with both Wonder and Melo9 in the CCT Challengers event.
And losing to somebody.
Oh, yeah. Losing to Sub-Top de France. Which is holy fucking shit. Which is Revol Supreme, Sanjo Krakito, Xima, Rasmo, and Jane, because they played with 6 players in this event, or in this one game. But yeah, Jack. Let me see what Jacquinho he tweeted something immediately after the game about how the tier 3-4 scene looks really horrible competitively and integrity wise. So I'm assuming they thought there was some cheating going on, which, to be fair, this is shit. This is a shit tier event from a shit TO, but that is also classic Lil Mix. Knowing them quite well, I love you guys, but like, you can't call cheating every time. Yeah. I love you guys. But yeah.
Despite trying, they're gonna try. They're gonna try. But yeah, those are our picks for the prospects of the year so far. Obviously, we've been very invested, and those are the selections we thought were the most impressive. Let's get into something that's going to be almost boring. It's going to take so little time to do. Team of the season. Of course, had a little ode to Paravision on the graphic. I've decided they get to be stuck in there. Alongside Vitality on the graphic. But yeah, okay, let's go. A top 5. Quick. I don't think there's a controversial pick on this list. So I'm going to tell you it, and you're going to tell me it's right, okay? 5 Furia, 4 Spirit, 3 Na'Vi, 2 Falcons, 1 Vitality.
We agree completely. I thought the one controversial pick might be Na'Vi over Spirit, but honestly, when you look at it, no.
How could it not be Na'Vi over Spirit? You know?
No.
Na'Vi actually won stuff. Na'Vi beat Vitality. Like,
deep
it
in
kind of has to be.
Many times, yeah.
Yeah. There's no other way about it. Spirit remain the team where it's like, they have the most dangerous weapon in Counter-Strike. It's just a shame it's often wielded by a toddler. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Or at least it's braced by a toddler. Like, it might be wielded properly, but it's just as soon as it shoots, the recoil just knocks everything else back, and it's just out of fucking service. Like, where's Shiro? Where's Tanir? Oh, Zontix, you're putting up chopper numbers. Great. Like, it's just a nightmare surrounding donk.
Yeah. No. I was gonna mention some other teams, to be honest, like as like honorable mentions, but it's just a matter of like who was almost good enough to be in the top 5, but shit the bed too much. Because it ends up being like, dude, you had a nice run. That's nice. Legacy, you know, in the context of who you are, you've done pretty well for yourself to beat Falcons in a grand final. Mouse, Paravision, honestly, like, nice start to the year. Paravision dropped off so fucking hard that fuck that. Like, no, they don't make the top 5. Even Fury are kind of there just because, you know, they were there. You know, they showed
up consistently in playoffs. They don't really have like one of the only finals they make is the major, and we all know they made that because of the bracket. And then they got blown away. So no, I did feel like they were 5th by default. And it was interesting just to think about, just as a pause, just like, okay, how do I rate Na'Vi and Spirit? I thought, okay, it's pretty conclusive. Falcons kind of has to be number 2 with a major win. Like, that is a pretty epic sort of thing to have won. They did also make other finals. Then yeah, Vitality. Despite the way it ended, despite the last 2 or 3 events of the year, last 2, because they did win one of their 2 American road trips events, right? So
yeah,
despite how it really ended, they were still so dominant this season that they're number 1. But it is a slightly like it's like a tinge of if only not that major loss to Falcons, which some genius predicted to a T on this show. To a Kingt, anyway.
Yeah, fuck that. Those are the teams. They, to be honest, they probably won't change until the end of the year. No, I'm joking, but no.
There's a good chance they don't. There's a good chance they don't.
There's a good chance they do. Yeah.
But again, the order might switch up a lot. Let's get into the rest of our top 20, the June 20. At number 10, let's go place by place now. At number 10, this is where I put Lato.
It's not bad.
Got a legit MVP run. He's generally pretty amazing at every event they play. The sample size is maybe the one thing that you'd say limits him, hampers him, holds him back. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with having him this high. He's just been kind of insane and inspired a lot of belief in us. Maybe a bit generous, but I've been harsh in other places, so it had to come through.
Yep, it's not bad. My number 10. I just have to quickly double check if I want to make an extremely last minute swap here.
Is this where you put Shiro?
Now that I look at it, it seems very harsh. But nah, I do think this might be the correct placing. I've put Makaze.
Okay.
And I've put him, in retrospect, maybe Wonderful should be above him, but we're talking 10 and 11. Minor swap, if I was gonna do that. He had very good runs. He's got the MVP as well from Pro League. That's a very good peak. But he also has like 2 pretty weak events to start the year, pretty weak in the major. He's not exactly the outright best player on Navi in some of their other deep runs, like in Atlanta. He's a 108. Yeah. It's obviously Wonderful who does a lot of the heavy lifting there, but also Bit does a lot. Like one of his best runs is Rio, where they lose in the first playoff game, which is slightly unimpactful. Maybe he should be higher now that I'm looking at it, to be honest. But yeah, I have him here. He's my number 10. Do you have him on your list?
I do. I have him at 9.
Yep.
Always undervalued is Makaze.
Yep.
Underrated the aspects of what he does in terms of like get baited by Imma. Yeah. No, I liked his MVP run a lot. I've liked some of his other runs. Honestly, it's one of those where I could swap him in Wonderful and not lose any sleep. You know, none at all, because I think Wonderful's been very good. But I should give him some more credit. Because he does have, like, again, when you look into the sort of numbers I like his buy round numbers and things like that, I'm like, he's just better than Flame Z.
Yeah.
Like, he does just outperform him a little bit, and I'm like, you know, that's my guy right there. That's Makaze. He's one of my prospects. I'll give him the extra credit.
Yeah. My number 9 is recently crowned major champion Nico, which might be controversial to some stands.
Hold on. Have you said the name Shiro yet?
No. And in retrospect,
gonna give me an aneurysm.
In retrospect, Shiro probably should be here. That's just not where I put him when I glanced at this the first time. Nico has a really good run at Bounty, ended up in MVP. He has a really good run at the Major, which ended up with, a major win. He is he's pretty good throughout the CAC until he gets dumpstered by Legacy. Bent over and fucked by Legacy. He gets fucked by Spirit in the Astana final, which ends up being a really shit event for him. He has a really shit run there with Rotterdam, Rio, Astana. It's just, the overall is pretty nice, but a lot of it was group stage, and then came the pressure and a couple of earlier exits than what Falcons would have, what I expected out of Falcons. And Nico was kind of a big part of that for a lot of the year. Like a lot of the year, we were talking about like how Nico was falling off quite heavily, and that was kind of the mid part of the season. So I don't think 9 is unfair. But in retrospect, I'll just say, if I'd given this a second pass tomorrow, Shiro would probably be here, and Nico would have been 8th.
Okay, fair enough. Because look, I only have Nico one spot ahead of that. Like, I have him at 8.
Yeah.
And it's for the similar reasons. And like the major run, because he's not MVP of the major, but you can make a case for it. Like, he's the best player in the semi-final, best player in the grand final. His over average rating's not that far removed from Munacy's. You can make a case he's also MVP level at least. So yeah, I have Nico at 8. That middle period is rough. It is pretty rough.
Yeah.
But to be still delivering like this, like despite him being washed and having problems, right? Like he has one event where he isn't like a 111 or 110 or something like that, and that's that Rotterdam event. He has multiple genuinely elite runs, including the major. Yeah, I think he deserves a lot of the credit.
He does, but he also does have some Kerrigan runs. Like, I'll tell you, he's played 4 grand finals in the year. And one of them is great. It's a 143. But just to illustrate, his average for those 4 grand finals still comes out to a 1.0. Like, these other 3 grand finals are bad enough where it offsets the 1.43 down back to an average. So
it's obviously those 2 in the middle, right? It's Astana and CAC.
Yeah. Like the Bounty one is fine. The Bounty one is fine.
Good-ish. Like it's a 109.
Given it's 3 map losses, then
it's not that bad. But no, yeah, okay, fair enough. Now, I know you've made a terrible decision at 8. You have put Shiro. I'm just becoming a Shiro hater. Like, slowly.
Yeah, okay.
And it's all relative to other people's rating of him. I'm always like, I need to knock him down a peg. I can't.
I'll say again, in retrospect, but I actually put Bit here. But he should be maybe one spot higher. I'll just reveal right now that shjeld is the next player, and we'll just ignore him. You can talk about how shit shjeld is. Bit, fucking crazy, man. And he has several fucking crazy playoff runs. Because he's really good when they win Pro League. Granted, his teammates are better, but he's still really good. He's really up there. Rotterdam, he's good. Atlanta, he's really fucking good. And like, sure, there's a couple of like weak spots. I still wouldn't say that he bombed it in most of those other playoff runs that they had. And his overall is super good. It's super fucking good. Even in the major when they get knocked out, he's a 117. If I give this a second pass, here's where I feel that I probably would have made changes, but I didn't. I didn't sleep on it, so.
Yeah, I don't love this one. I really don't love this placement. I think he should be below Wonderful and Makaze, and I'm not saying he should be miles off them. Like I have him at 11, right? I'm at 11. I have Makaze at 9, and I'm getting to Wonderful very quickly. So, yeah, this is just one where I disagree with the order. He doesn't have he has that pretty great Atlanta run. Obviously, as you said, just other teammates did it better. But he does have poor runs where they still make a grand final despite him not being that present. You know, he does blow it in Cluj. Like he's got enough falls for me to not see him as like this perfect playoff performer, right? And give him that sort of credit of, oh, you were so good in playoffs, I can overlook just the average being lower. Like he has troughs, like clear troughs. And again, overall events, just in terms of just event average, event by event, excluding playoff performances, you're just talking about him as a player. Yeah, I'll give him a lot of credit. So I have him 11th, despite him actually not having an MVP. Right, he's one of my top dogs, just on consistency, pretty much.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, needed a more definitive run that's his.
Yeah. So I also did say that my 8 is shjeld, and I've already said that I think he has good peaks. He has better peaks than I think you give him credit for. Kind of similar to Bit. I think what happened was I grouped him with Bit, and I was like, they're below these guys, and then I just didn't give those two guys a pass over Nico Mekaze, Wonderful Molodoy, and like that group, to put them below them, because I think probably both should be. But yeah, it's now that this is my second pass, that's where he is, and I have to stick with that. So that's my 7. Jesus Christ, I hate myself.
I was probably too low, but I think you are too high on shjeld.
Yeah, I think the midpoint is shjeld should be somewhere like 9 to 13, maybe.
Yeah, 12. But yeah, somewhere in that range. My 7 is Wonderful. That's where I thought he should end up. Yeah, crazy good in playoffs pretty much all year. Like the exception is Rio. Like it's Rotterdam, you're like, oh, 106, he's got a 0.82 KPR. Like he just got wrecked by rating. I don't care. Like he killed too many people for that to be true. So Wonderful has been, I guess it's a bit of a it is one of those things where it's like this is a revelation of the season. Like Wonderful, not only just putting up good numbers and we love that, but also going in and just taking down Vitality. We love that. Like we love that big time. Wonderful for me has to be all the way up here. Wonderful over shjeld is dumb. No, just no. You can keep, okay. We'll make the trade. If you want for the last season, you want a 108 basically AFK AWPer. Take him. Wonderful has been far more involved, won more games, and had better peaks. Like I don't see what part of the game you'd want shjeld over him in. Like,
funnily enough, I think shjeld now is kind of what I felt Wonderful was on Spirit when he was there, and Wonderful now is kind of what I think shjeld was when he was on Cloud9. Like it's in different ways, in convoluted ways that I won't elaborate on. My number 6 pick, I think we're about to get to, because that was 7.
I should be starting these, shouldn't I? Yeah. My 6 is Kioske. My 6 is Kioske. As much as he was great in playoffs once Karrigan arrived, obviously he wasn't great in playoffs before Karrigan arrived. Yeah, he was pretty insane once he did get rolling, though. It's just, yeah, those there were some pretty dramatic flops. But an awesome way to end it. It's just when we get to this top 6, it's like we are picking between players who've all had great MVP level runs, great runs in general, been incredibly consistent, just generally been awesome players. So I'll have him at 6.
Yep. My number 6 is actually Rops. And I just feel like we're obviously talking about, at this point, we're both talking about very elite players. It's not going to be like an Imma thrown in.
We're splitting hairs between players. Like these two guys, like 120 in playoffs this year. Like we've awarded them like either MVPs or the real MVPs and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's not crazy.
He has a single MVP event under a 110, and that event was 2 games. It was Blast Bounty. He just doesn't peak quite as high as some of the players I've put above him. The run they had of 5 straight wins is very nice, and Rops played a big part in all those wins. But I would probably say in those runs specifically, given who I have to come, he's probably the 3rd best player on Vitality in those 5 wins, to be honest. Overall, I would say. So this is just where he ends up being. So yeah.
Look, I don't have. I'm just going to put it this. I have Rops at 5. I have him above Kioske, and I'm going to be honest. I need to hear your rationale for just that head-to-head. Like, I understand you talked about like him being the 3rd best player on Vitality, so we're going to get to flamez and ZywOo, obviously. But having him below Kioske, like, I'm not sure if Kioske is your 5. If he is, that makes this conversation perfect.
He's not.
Okay.
Kiosuke, I think, just peaks way too high, and especially at the major, especially in the major playoffs. That's a 129 in CAC. That's a 130 in major playoffs. These are playoff ratings. Astana 122, 133 in Rotterdam, even if it was just that one game. It's just way too high peaks. In retrospect, probably should have been below the player I have in 5, who is flamez. But I would put Kiosuke above Rops because Rops just doesn't peak as high. He's the 3rd best player. Like I said,
do you want to go check Rops' playoff numbers at all runs? Because you just talked about numbers that start 0.3. Rops does have 2 higher peaks, insane peaks. He won an MVP, right, Rops?
He has that one, yeah. But all of the no, he has the rivals as well. Fuck.
Yeah, that's what drove it for me. So like we're comparing peak events, especially. Like Rops not only has the peaks, he also doesn't have the floor. Like he doesn't have those those really down playoff events to the same extent. Like he doesn't. He's not perfect.
Yeah, you've got me here. You've got me here. I would still say in those same events, he probably is. If I'm taking that string of 5 straight wins, which is like the best part of the year for Vitality.
Yeah.
Let me just double check, but I think I would still say if I take those 5 wins and average them, I'd still say he's narrowly the 3rd best player on Vitality in those runs.
Yeah, it depends.
But I might over flamez.
It depends on what flamez did. I mean, I'd have to look back on it to do the exact comparison. He's my 5 events.
flamez is a 141 in Cluj. He's a 133 in Rivals, a 128 in Rotterdam, a 110 in Rio, and a 119 in Krakow in playoff ratings. And in the average ratings, he surpasses Rops by quite a big margin. Because Rops is like 116 in a lot of them, while flamez is pretty consistently like a 120 to 130 in overall ratings in those five events. The rest of the events, obviously, flamez dips harder. Definitely. But, again, this is... At end of the year, I'm going to put consistency above peaks, but since we're talking about a relatively small amount of events, peaks go above consistency in this case. But in retrospect, this should have been 5 and 4 rather than 6 and 5 because Kiosuke is my 4, and this is maybe the one that I really disagree with so far. Now that I've looked at it.
Yeah. So as we talked about, like you have flamez at 5, I have flamez at 4. As you just said, they should have been 5 and 4. Yeah, that's where I have them, and I actually think they don't have to be 5 and 4. I think you can make a case for flamez and Rops swapping, but I'm okay with where I have them in the end. You know.
Yeah,
that's just how I feel about it. flamez, pretty great year. Yeah. Aside from obviously the last 2 events where he does just tank it, and I think he just awakens this demon in the Vitality fans from 2024. Back when there was used to be like, ZywOo didn't win event. Key, who can we blame? And it's just like, yeah, start throwing literal mud pies at this fucking FlameZ kid.
Yeah.
But generally, he's been fantastic. So yeah, FlameZ is my 4. He's your 4 too, I believe. Or is it?
Well, now, yeah.
No, he is now in retrospect, but you have Kyosuke at 4.
Now in retrospect, he is my 4. Yes.
Kyosuke, yeah, that was an interesting choice. To put it that, let's put it lightly. But yeah, 3, 2, 1.
That's maybe the one. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
We
this is a big one.
Look, okay. The title you have titled this episode, and you imply that you are questioning the number 1 spot. All right, because the top 3 players are, of course, m0NESY, donk, and Emma. But you but you put ZywOo in the conversation. No, but okay, so I'll say this. In overall ratings for the year, I'm pretty sure this was the case when I glanced at it in just the overall list. No event filters or anything, or maybe it was no event filters or anything. Donk surpasses ZywOo, which obviously includes like play-ins and stuff.
Yeah, then if you're including not just MVP events.
Basically, the only thing it doesn't include, if you go MVP events or big events, I think, is the major stage 2.
Oh, does it include? Is it also the Blast Online portion?
Both of them played the Blast Online portion.
Yeah, but that's also included, right? If you open.
Oh yeah. But yeah. If you go LAN only, then it's only the major stage 2, I think.
Okay.
Oh no, Pro League, but I don't think Spirit were at Pro League. Whatever the case is. The overall rating puts donk above ZywOo. So, have you put donk above ZywOo?
No. No, I have ZywOo 1, but this is what annoyed me. And this is why I want to have a deeper conversation about some of this stuff. I think Maui had m0NESY 2, and I've seen some other people have donk outside of 1 or 2. Let's be very clear about something again, because I feel like I have to state this over and over. Donk's numbers are still categorically insane.
Yes.
Even if we look at this year as a down year where he's actually taken a step back in playoffs, unlike every other year where he was, as so many put it, impossibly good in playoffs, despite being so young, despite being so fresh. Even with that step down, his playoff numbers are still incredible. They're just mortal. And he still has playoff runs, plural, that put most people to shame. Like most players dream of once in a lifetime, the multiple playoff runs he's had just this year. But overall fragging output, there's still no one like him. Like, ZywOo has now this year become comparable in terms of fragging output, because ZywOo's actually had one of his best seasons in terms of overall output numbers. Like it ended with that down note, right? The down note of the major, but his Krakow was, I mean, we remember watching it. That's fucking electric. Like that was incredible. So, truly some of the best CS he's ever played. And sure, whilst every event didn't look like that, his average felt even more potent. And when you look in the advanced numbers, yeah, of course, same thing sort of bear out. Like his full by round KPIs are 0.9. Like that's insane. So I was actually taking a huge step up. So he has to stay number 1, because even those donk probably still averages a better output. The playoff numbers are no longer there. The difference isn't even that close in overall. ZywOo gets my full credit. The m0NESY part of this, I can't quite fathom.
Do you know what I think? What I think this comes down to? Because, okay, because the m0NESY also has a big step down in playoffs compared to his average stats. He's a 117 in playoffs, while donk is a 125. So the margin actually stays kind of the same, from m0NESY being 120 something and donk being 130 something. Yeah, it's still a big margin. The thing is, aside from round swing and DPR, they are effectively the same in terms of multi-kills and KPR and cast. Obviously, the ADR is different, because that's because m0NESY ops. It's just going to happen. They both have 21.4 in playoffs, that is. 21.4% multi-kills. Donk has 0.8 KPR. m0NESY has 0.81. Cast is basically the same, but who cares about cast? They're both basically equal. Like, it's not like one of them is better on CT side and one of them is better on T side. They have basically the same ratings for both. So I think what maybe I know Maui's not like a stats guy. He's much more of an eye test guy. He obviously considers stats as well, but like he's formed that opinion based out of watching the games. But I wonder if he's just gone. These guys are hard to split, and the stats don't do any difference. m0NESY won a major, and he's played significantly more events because he leads Donk by like 30 maps or 40 maps over the season.
He does.
Yeah, so I think maybe he's just said like look, m0NESY has done very similar things to Donk in terms of raw output, but he's achieved a major with it. He's beaten him directly in the major playoffs.
Playoff output, yeah. His overall output.
Yeah, but also in the major playoffs they played each other. So like
yeah, that matchup is probably a something. It's probably a something factor, right? Like I'm not saying it's nothing.
I wouldn't say it's close. I would say Donk is way above m0NESY because again, Donk is like just unreal, and m0NESY is
believable.
Good. m0NESY is good, but like he is believable in terms of playing playoff rating with a very similar sample size. He's actually surpassed by Wonderful in terms of playoff rating for the year.
Yeah, m0NESY's had they're green dips, but they're still dips, and I think that's the part people miss. Like, right, his rating stays green.
Yeah,
but he's actually taking a dip in a lot of playoff games.
Yeah.
So I think that's gone kind of overlooked. But no, something I want to illustrate, by the way, because a lot of people I see it's like offhanded comments sometimes. It's like Donk is in the best role, still in CS2. Just a reminder, full by v full by again. The gap in KPR from Donk to FlameZ, the second highest like opener in the world, like second highest rated opener, second best numbers. That gap in KPR is the same as the gap from FlameZ to Major. Fucking Major. Like that's he makes FlameZ into Major, if you want to do that sort of analysis.
Yeah.
I would be very cautious about having anyone even close to him. Like I feel like we are talking 1, 2, skip a fucking few, 3. Like it's quite a leap, I think. And the very specific preconditions you could have for m0NESY. I think the best case you can make m0NESY, honestly, in terms of rating, is just rating hates AWPers. And m0NESY is the best example of it. But his playoff output hasn't done enough, I think. It's at best he's equal to him in playoffs, and that's why Donk's taken a fall off and he's not the clear number 1 like he was last year, despite HLTV's lie. Like, despite that piece of fiction that was awarded at the end of the year. Donk was number 1. If he had the playoff out numbers he did from last year, even close to it, again, he'd be number 1. But that drop-off has been noted, and that's why he's number 2.
Yeah, but we are in agreement with the order. It's,
okay.
Yeah, exactly what I hope everybody has for this list. Yeah, those are our lists.
Oh, that's our top 20 at the halfway point of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, now we can make a nice graphic at the end of the year where we move them, how many places they moved up or down.
Exactly.
And new entry.
We probably have to make a graphic for this one first, and I don't know. We need to talk to the graphics guy.
The graphics guy is usually btrams.
Yeah, or in our case, it's going to be. It might have to be me still, because I still have to do a lot of
your
stuff.
alter ego.
Yes, all my alter egos.
Who is Ting Key. That's
Ting Key. My
Ting Key. Drag name.
Honestly, I was gonna make that joke. Like Queen T would be too on the nose. Ting Key.
Queen T, yeah.
Kind of fun. But let's get into.
Yeah.
Speaking of drag, Quack, the other part of your job. It's time for cock of the week.
Yeah, and this week I am dragging my cock all over. See, I had one, but then I was like, nah, I'll leave it.
Have you done back-to-back weeks of not doing your job? Like
back-to-back weeks of not doing my job. Look, like I was busy, man. I had a LAN to work at. I didn't go on Twitter, man. You see how few articles have been published on Fragbite this week? There's a reason for that.
So have you got a cock of the week or not?
Other stuff to do. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Let me find one right now. In their prime, who is skill-wise the best? Brackets serious. Who in their prime was the best? Top comment is Donk. Second top comment is Motivated Shocks. And then eye test, simple 2021. Stats, Donk. Good take. Markelov in 1.6, simple in Go. m0NESY in CS2. See, that's a bad take. Cock of the week goes to Maxwell on HLTV forums for implying that m0NESY is the best player ever. CS2.
Them highlights. They're pretty great. Pretty great highlights.
But you've seen Donk's highlights.
Yeah, I've seen Donk's lowlights for crying out loud.
Actually, no, okay. I do have a legit cock of the week. I just remembered popped up during the show. It's another classic quack. I want to do justice for content being stolen.
I play the intro. I'm so bad at this. I forgot it existed and I played the old graphic just regular.
You are cock of the week! You are cock of the week!
There we go. Anyway, who is this real?
Some fucking Telegram account who reposted verbatim quotes from a TLDR interview, and which has then been reposted again on Twitter and gone mildly viral. Without a single reference back to TLDR.
TLDR just seem to suck at getting their own shit viral sometimes. Like, have you noticed? Like, sometimes, like, someone else just nicks their shit and it goes more viral. I don't think it's the first time it's happened.
No, this same account also just in full reposted a clip out of our own interview. Just in full and was like, this is interesting. Got like 1,000 likes.
Yeah, I saw it.
Like, no, yeah. Yeah, you saw that. Even you saw that.
I hadn't seen the original.
We get a lot of these are a lot of the stuff still goes decently viral, but it's way less. More now that we are being a little bit more thoughtful around our socials game.
Okay.
And I've obviously brought my own opinions.
I'm sure you have. That'll do for Cock of the Week. It's going to be a random Russian stealing IP.
Yeah, it's a Monacy fan account. Like, you can't trust
even
them.
better, a child.
Yeah.
Now, on to our next segment. It's going to be the Retake Games. We're going to get into some games, and they're going to be half-year themed, or the one game I think that's actually planned. We have brought back the wheel. It's not going to be loaded. It's going to take a second to appear. There it is. We're going to do a KPR draft based on stats for 2026. We're going to say MVP events filter only, just to keep it nice and simple. But yeah, we're going to need an IGL, an opener, a closer, an AWPer, and a fill rifle. Just of any sort of rifle you want. You can try and make it make sense for your team. You can just pick any old guy who makes it the numbers work. So the wheel is spinning. Let's see what target KPR we have to aim for. Oh lord, it's going to be low. 0.68 is the number we're going for.
Oof.
That's not high. Quack, would you like to go first? And would you like to do a snake draft?
Snake draft and second.
Okay. I will open up. I'm okay. I think one of the tougher places to get someone who's around this number. So I'm going to try and keep it. I'm going to try and drill like 0.68. Like 5 times 0.68. Because I've been trying a few different strategies. Nothing's really working. I'll go back to this. A 0.68 opener. 2026, I've got a feeling he might be a tad low, but I think I'll have to go high in other places. I'm going to take xFloud.
Not bad. Not a bad pick. So last week, my strategy was that I was going to take the extreme ends and then just try to split the difference.
It went very well. You should try that again.
It went very poorly, but it was very funny. But this time, my strategy is going to be just take the first player that pops into my mind and don't think about it. IGL, Crabany, Hopper, Torchy.
Okay.
I don't think that's awful. But that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Number one.
I think they're. No, I don't know what to think about them actually. I was actually liking Crabney for my own pick, which is a shame. Let's do something else then. Let's go towards. Let's take him as a closer. I'm going to take Tanir as a closer. And then on the AWP. Oh, I feel like he's a bit low. Hang on. No, surely he's around here. I'm going to take some Pious.
Okay.
There you go. Tanir and some Pious.
Opener, Yekindar. Closer. I don't have anybody in my mind. It's actually completely blank at the moment.
You want donk in closers, what do you want?
Closer. Nissim.
Nissim, okay.
Nissim as my closer, yeah.
Alright, I'm going to take my fill rifle just to make the tough IGL part difficult.
Yeah.
It's the most difficult, so I'm saving it for last. I'm going to take Immer as my fill, because I think he probably sits right around this mark. He baits enough, whilst also not being good enough to be here. And then at my IGL, in IGL, he frags a little bit. But at MVP events, it's tough to get someone who's in the mid to low 0.6s, like truly. That's the problem. I feel like there's one option. I'm just in my mind trying to really think if I've seen this guy at events and he's played well enough. Screw it. It usually is around this mark. Give me Big Zero.
Oof.
Yeah, I feel like he might be low, but yeah.
I think he's quite low, but fair. Phil, first player who popped in my mind was Soulfly. That's my Phil. My team is shit. I have Krabben, Torji, Yekindar, Nissim, and Soulfly. But a team that averages a 0.68 KPR is also not that good in the first place, so I don't think...
Yeah.
But yeah, so MVP events 2026.
Yeah, MVP events specifically. I need to actually lower the minimum filter. I've picked some really fucking like out there players who haven't played that many maps at big events. Xfloud, Bigu. Oh, Bigu Zero was a terrible pick. I should have gone with Art. I was between the two of them. Oh no. Please tell me Tanir's way better than I've expected. I doubt he is though. Maybe some Pious can save me? Again, I doubt it. I've been roasting him all year for a reason. I actually have to rely on Immer to help me. And he might have done it. He might have done something. He's done something. I'll give him some credit. So, Immer's a 0.7. Xloud 0.65. You bot. What the hell? Bigu 0.56. It's over. It's so over. Tanir 0.65. I've cooked this completely wrong. 0.69 on some Pious. 2 not terrible picks. 3 pretty bad ones. Quack, I assume you've got me beat on this.
Do you know what I'll say? Do you know what KPR both Krabbenny and Torji have?
0.65?
0.68. I was bang on.
Really?
I just went who's there, and I was perfect. And I can tell you the other 3 are slightly off.
Not off enough though, right?
I don't know. What's your average?
0.65.
My average is a 0. 0.6. 5. 2.
You beat me by less than a fuck. Oh wow.
If one of these players had a single like 0.01 KPR less, then we would have been tied.
You beat me by so little.
Yeah, I can tell you. So Krabbenny and Torji were bang on. Nissim was a 0.58. Oof. Soulfly was a 0.62. And then Yekindar, like at the end, I was hoping that Yekindar was going to be higher, but but he's a 0.70. So I correct. That was enough of a correction. If he was 0.68, then you would have beaten me by 0.02. But because he was slightly better than I anticipated.
What a shame.
Oof.
What a shame. So
what a dub for me.
Yeah,
getting Torji and Krabbenny bang on was insane.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Krabbenny. I knew Krabbenny would be good. And then I cocked up my IGL choice. If I'd have picked Art, I think I would have beaten you. But that's how the cookie crumbles, as they say. Let's get into the Eternal Shuffle, the proper shuffle, with the players that actually did make changes, got signed, whatever else. Quack, you name them, I grade them. Let's get into it.
We've already touched on it. G2 have replaced Sun Pius, but they haven't gotten Klim. They've signed Wrinkle instead.
All right, this is this feels like, okay, there's like a 10% chance Saw's a genius. We're all stupid, and this is the 100 billion IQ move that it has to be to not be crazy. I just think it's crazy, and it's one of those cases where it's like I can't even put my faith in maybe Wrinkle has the talent and he'll figure it out. Something's gone wrong over the last 2 years, I think, and he just hasn't got it. As soon as he plays any sort of real opposition, he gets dumpstered, and he's just a non-factor. So I can't understand it. I have to give him a D. especially if some Pius was the super sexual genius second caller that everyone who loves some Pius gave him credit for, I don't really get it.
So when I do my pick'ems, sometimes I pick the underdog because it would be too, like, if that storyline happens and I didn't predict it, I would hate myself. I'm kind of the same way here. Like, if this works and Saw is a genius, I kind of don't want to be correct about predicting that. So I don't want Wrinkle to be good here. I want this to be horrible because it should be. So if it's not, then the universe is not in balance. Wrinkle somehow being like... And also locked down this early. Like, there's a chance we get more shuffles moving around. Molodoy has been talked about potentially going to Aurora. And you're telling me G2, early on in the shuffle, lock down Wrinkle for their op roll. While, like... Stupid. Aurora, basically confirmed the Ash edition. Ash. That is correct. Ash edition, yeah. By... mention. I was in my head. I was like, it's supposed to be Ash Edison, but no, the Ash edition by removing Fabre. Yeah, Turkey is gone. No longer on the map.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Turkish CS. Right. That's the end of it. They're now just another nation. You know. No national team to fully rely on.
Yep.
But I think it was necessary. And I've said it was necessary for a while. And probably at more than just the coach IGL sort of position. Like, they probably had to go to national to fill out roster spots at some point. This is the first part of it. It's just the coach for now. We know there's a lot of rumors elsewhere. They have to get an A for signing like a coach of the year candidate. You know, in the past, to replace Faber, who only received Coach of the Year votes from like Magic in the HLTV award system, which of course is just an absolute farce. So yeah, pretty simple for me.
Yeah. This is when they go around and like sign hard style as the coach instead, just to fuck with everybody. Space Soldiers coach, if you didn't know. MIBR have confirmed that they are not retaining Klim. As far as I know, he was just too expensive to keep. And they've signed NQZ, who I discovered today is only 21. I honestly thought he had been around long enough, where in my mind he was like 24. I even wrote in the newsletter last night that I wrote that like NQZ brings a lot of valuable tier 1 experience that he can bring to his younger teammates. But he's older than at least 2 of them. So, than at least 3 of them. I think he's only older than... He's the same age as Venom Zero. He's the joint youngest player on this team. Joining, which is insane.
And it's not like, I'll be honest, I think you just kind of just fumbled yourself there, because on Pain, it's not like he played that crazy a level either. For very long, you know? Like, they play events, it's just, remember, they're a group stage exit a lot of the time. Like, it's... Yeah,
but I'm not going to pretend like he wasn't...
Experience.
I'm not going to pretend that he wasn't the best Brazilian opper for a lot of that time. Like Brazilian, although not counted. He's a 111 average for Pain. Make it MVP events, he's only a 102. Sure. But like the back half of that in like 2025, he was actually pretty good. He was actually pretty damn good in a lot of those events. So
he was exciting. He was an exciting talent for a long time for sure. So I don't hate the fact that they go and get NQZ. It's like, you're not retaining Klim. That's about as good as it gets. Crazy for Klim to be so expensive that they bought out NQZ.
Yes, from the bench, and I don't know what his contract situation was there. I'll just say what I'm hearing is that Klim is a bit like Regali. And I think it kind of speaks volumes that the guy was too expensive to retain for MIBR. There's a team, the team who can have him for free and are vacating his spot anyway. Go for Wrinkle over him, I think speaks volumes, to be honest. In light of that. So, given all that, MIBR managed to retain Insani, reportedly, for at least another 6 months. And they get NQZ It was between NQZ and Try, and they managed to get NQZ for the op spot. MIB are still like super dangerous on paper, and might even be better, because as much as NQZ wasn't exactly like amazing, like you said, in tier 1, it's not like he was a massive revelation. Klim fell off quite hard when they did show up in like the major and such. He had big fall off games, which you really couldn't MIBR couldn't afford and stay alive. NQZ, at least in those kind of games, he would keep it up for Pain. So I would say it's an upgrade. I think that's a
NQZ bold proclamation to make, considering Klim has a very limited sample size of maps at MVP level events.
At the moment, it's an upgrade.
His rating is just better, but whatever. Like, we'll ignore that. His rating is just better than NQZ's at those events and those matches. So I don't understand where this has come from to be guaranteeing an upgrade. But I understand what you mean in terms of Klim not being retained. Clearly, there's something going on beyond the Counter-Strike being played on the server, but beyond his mechanical abilities, which Klim has many of. Maybe something's not right with his comms, his attitude, something. I'm purely speculating because I don't actually know. We'll see what comes next for Klim. Honestly, he could do a job almost any sort of starring role. Doesn't even have to be an AWPer. He's got that many tools at his disposal. So if he's not genuinely a twat, someone's going to get him.
I want him to develop for a while longer. Maybe not on G2RS because that's way too low, but if they can like loan him out to honestly any of these like younger, exciting Russian squads.
Yeah, they all loan him out to Heroic because they need a fucking AWPer.
That's true. Loan him out to Heroic, yeah, to be honest. Alcaran has reportedly fixed his visa issues, just in now that we mentioned that.
I'd still do it.
Yeah, I would still do it. Yeah, I'd still do it, 100%. Speaking of op changes, a spot where he could have gone, maybe. Brokey was benched, and FaZe have taken in Jay Bowen on a loan for the rest of the season. So the FaZe roster that will be playing in China, because NateU is still just... I don't think they even announced that he was going to play in China, but he was in all the press photos, so now we know. It's Twists Frozen, NateU, Jacob, and Jay Bowen, with OnKJ as the coach.
Yeah, Jay Boners rise up. Jay Bowen is in a tier 1 team, and as I hinted at before, he's got like no experience. And as much as I've watched the POVs, I like the skill set. I like his game, and overall he's very confident. He's good on all weapons. Does a lot of things right. He has a grand total of 3 maps against top 30 opponents. 3 maps against top 30, and that was not a top 5 team. Like, that wasn't a top 20 team either. So yeah, we don't have a great deal to go off of for Jay Bowen. What he has shown, what he has put on paper is fantastic. Like, what we've seen in demos is pretty damn tight. So I can't complain. As far as FaZe taking a risk on him, yeah, that's a risk to take. There's maybe more solid options out there in the scene. Sampayas, notably, is one of the players where it's like, if he's made available, and a lot of these teams who have terrible AWPing situations don't consider him, it's a bit weird to me. Like, you should have been. But Jay Bowen, if you're taking a risk on a young AWPer, it's one of the better places to go. If you can't get, like, maybe Grix, but even Grix, he's on big. He's far from an option if you're just trying to take a cheap flyer. And anyway, this is only a loan till the end of the year. So, yeah, an astute signing in when you add the full context.
Yeah. One of those uppers they were reportedly interested in is potentially going to be available, because I forgot to put this in the shuffle earlier. Gentle Mates are looking to put their Spanish roster up for sale, and they were reportedly, like, Martinez was of interest to FaZe.
Martinez is a far more proven player.
I like that move, but it's not happening because they got Jay Bowen for the rest of the year. This was originally rumored, and then shortly afterwards, it was one of the co-founders of the organization basically on a live stream said that they just got a spot in Valorant, like in the Valorant ecosystem. I don't know how it works, but it's a franchise kind of thing. And that's going to cost a couple of $1 million to run a team there, and they don't have like a sponsor coming in to fund the CS team. They have to cut the CS team because running a CS team is apparently very expensive. Specifically CS. So they can't retain them. So look, when they announced this team, I was like, it would suck if Gentlemates don't realize that the Spanish roster is slightly inflated in terms of where I think their level actually is, and that they realize that it's not a guarantee they're going to make majors and that they're going to get that sticker money. And now it seems that they've found out that that wasn't a guarantee, that it is too expensive to run a CS team. And, you know, that's it's a shame that, you know, they don't watch Retake the Week. But yeah, supposedly the roster are like they're in negotiations to sell the roster to either Heretics, Koi, or Giant X. All three are Spanish esports organizations.
Right.
I wouldn't hate either of them. This roster is not bad, but like it's not very good either. But yeah, Gentlemates are not going to be here. It's no grade for that. It's not an actual move. It's just a business thing.
Yep.
NIP benched Cairn. Just on the face of it, thoughts?
I don't blame them entirely. It just depends. It does depend on who they sign, but so far, you know, if you're gonna be not at the major, taking a flyer on one of your academy kids, probably worth it. So maybe Note is their full-time signing, and I don't hate it. Is what I'm saying.
It's a stand-in, but I think he should. Like, I think there's every chance that, given the events they have coming up, like XSC Pro League, Stake Ranked, and then they go into Blast Bounty, the online stage, before going to Esports World Cup. For the next two of those events are the only ones where Note is confirmed. But I could see, supposedly they're talking to Crimbo as well, and I know that they've inquired about another player I won't mention, who I could see a world where Note plays well enough in those two events, and negotiations for those other players don't progress as quickly as you'd like to, where they just keep Note, and it wouldn't be a bad idea. I love this guy. He's honestly really fucking good. You, like, even you casuals who are watching the show might have seen him, because he was the guy who won 18 straight 1v1s, or 16 or whatever it was, in like a 3-month streak. Insane, to be honest. Yeah. Very good player. And yeah, Karen, I don't blame him. He's a decent player, but it's just
it's just not worked out as well as you'd like it to be. Like working out.
Signing of the year, Eyeballers have picked up Crims. He's back in Sweden, back with JW.
Yeah, good. He's in the right place. Next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't exactly replace Bob XT. I think Maxer and Dex are going to have to step up a bit. But I also don't hate it. Crims can absolutely keep going for another year, or maybe 2 years, in terms of where I think his level is and has been at Fnatic. Eyeballers, it's nice that he's giving back. And yeah. W. When he left Fnatic, he was temporarily replaced by Paul Bandana, Sweet Louisiana. And I told him that. I said the joke at LAN, and I even said it in an interview. He thought it was funny. He thought it was very funny.
It's a great joke.
Yeah. I was very surprised. Never mind. Focus have had to let go of ZTR. His loan from Game Elite has run out.
Okay.
So yeah, he's gone from the team. Yeah, I don't know where I can put him, to be honest, because the team has been pretty damn mid. Like, they won a LAN in a grand final in the BC game, and they qualified for Bucharest, which was very nice. On debut, pretty much, they won that qualifier.
Yeah.
In Bucharest, though, I would say they disappointed, but only slightly. I would have expected them to be in playoffs. It's basically the difference of one game. But like, you shouldn't, a playoff qualifying game, you shouldn't lose to Eyeballers in a tier 1 event. So I thought that was a shame. Then the online results have kind of been, okay, so when are you going to stop finding your footing and start winning? And I kind of slightly have to pin that on CTR. So
okay, I don't entirely.
Yeah.
You know, having watched a bit of them and followed their stories and all the individuals on this team, I just think they've not been. Maybe they've been kind of over. Like, the expectations have been too high on them. As far, especially you talking about how Bucharest you want to make playoffs. I'm like we are talking about like a kid, a guy with no experience. Like Volt as one of your like rotators. Like, your best pieces are a surprisingly overperforming Anchor a WizKid Orpa who hasn't been comfortable on this team, like hasn't really lived up to the promise he's shown on other teams. And then your IGL, who's got some experience and has gotten a decent amount out of this team. Like, I don't think they're that crazy good that they should be making playoffs in Bucharest, for example. So I think I'm slightly more high on ZTR, but I agree in principle that it's not as clear where he can end up next. I think he'd be an upgrade in some Swedish teams. That's for sure, pretty much. But as far as staying in the sort of top 30 range, that's more difficult.
Yeah. I fear, given the level he's been playing at in terms of organizationally, I fear maybe he won't sign for some of the teams that he should be in. I don't know why, but I just feel like he has salary demands that won't be able to be met.
Yeah, possibly.
So unfortunately, I think he's just going to sit on the bench until he's a free agent. But yeah.
Unfortunate, but yeah. No, I wouldn't hate seeing him in Sweden. I think he'd do well.
No. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. 100 Thieves have benched Agil. For presumably Gizmi. So I'm assuming that means something like Rain is going to take some of Agil's spots and Gizmi is going to come into call.
I feel kind of bad for Agil here. Like, I'm not. This has been the best player on the team by any means, but he's getting benched because Rain's not a good enough IGL. Like, that's why he's getting benched. There's almost no other reason for him to get benched right now. He's not been the main issue for the team, not when they started. Like, that was clearly Device. I mean, since then, the calling and coaching has not been good enough. Device has gotten his shit together, like, since then. But other parts of the team have faded as not just... I mean, Ahil's come down to earth a bit in his ratings, but again, considering the roles he's in, it's to be expected. But so has Syra a bit. And they just had key losses as far as the big events they needed to... or the big events for them that they need to do well in. So I don't think this is really a fully like earned benching for Ahil. It's really more Rain's fault. But Gizmi's going to be an upgrade at the caller spot. And keeping Rain around probably makes some sense as far as veterancy. So we'll see what they end up playing like in this new look version of the team. But I do feel a bit sort of poor for Agil. Like I feel like he could have. I think he can go into a lot of teams right now in tier 1.5, tier 2, and do that same role pretty damn well.
Yeah, probably. I forgot to put this in the rumors section, but Story is supposedly out of SAW, and also or out of FlyQuest.
Yeah,
and all of the Portuguese players out of BC Game are also benched or free. Ados Dosh is benched. SHR is somewhere out there. Reunion.
Maybe. And hey, they can be like
out there. Yeah.
If they can be like 60th in the world and never appear at LAN unless they have Muturus. If there's Muturus in that reunited team, yeah, they'll be interesting and worth talking about. Otherwise, they're not actually going to amount to a whole lot, unfortunately.
Probably. But hey, there have been some pretty nice SAW teams.
Yeah, for one reason.
Moving swiftly onwards. Gaimin Gladiators. Look, one of us predicted that the some org was going to complain about the lack of sticker money when citing why they're exiting CS, and Gaimin Gladiators have done exactly that. The updated sticker money distribution system means that the last place team gets a significantly smaller sticker cut than the teams who perform better. Like the winner. Like the discrepancy is something like the winner gets 7 or 8 times more sticker money or something. I can't remember what the specific divide is. Actually, I can figure it out real quick. So out of the money that goes to all of the... in the full pool, 5% of it goes to the TO. And those remaining 95, I think, are split. If it was split evenly, you would get about almost 3% between the 32 teams. But the bottom team now gets 0.6%. So they're getting like a sixth of the sticker money they expected. Because they get 0.6% rather than 3%.
Yeah, so a fifth, but yeah.
Yes, I can't do math. getting a fifth of the sticker money they expected. And the entire squad is just fucking gone. So Phelps was already gone, obviously. First, Fur announced that he was not going to continue with them, which I think was pretty much a given. Then Lucan and the coach Horby just left outright. We talked about that last week. And now also Lucan, Henny, and Nekis are benched. And the org was like, with the way that Valve have changed the revenue system, we don't think it's sustainable to have a Counter-Strike team anymore, which is...
Basically, we can't make a team that won't be last at the major if we ever make it again. And probably
at least
they
they're being
weren't going to
honest.
make it again because they were shit.
No. At least they're being honest. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fair.
I'll say fuck you. Passion UA seem to have been removed from existence in the way that Alexander Zinchenko has left the team. The supposed owner, and I think he was the owner, but the way that I've read about it, it seems a little bit like he was more of a media, like there's a manager who started the project and basically signed Zinchenko on as promotional thing, which it obviously was. Like, there's no other reason why a football player would own an esports org. But yeah, basically, and then also Imperial have said that they've begun proceedings to basically undo the transfer from Imperial to Passion UA because Passion UA haven't fulfilled their requirements, presumably. Presumably they haven't paid the buyout or whatever. And right. Kvem announced that he's a free agent. Those are the changes that have been announced so far. JT and TC on the way to Liquid. STY was only there temporarily. So, and Nick X, I mean, I saw him play in Fragadelphia or whatever. So this team doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Kvem is actually going back to ICLA. I'm sure he's still under contract with ICLA, according to ICLA. But,
dude, it would be so funny if there's a tweet somewhere circulating from like the ICLA owner who says, "We have begun initial proceedings to return Kvem, undoing the transfer."
Yeah. So the Passion UA project disbanding like that just scatters. It's like a supernova, you know, just scattering all these elements into the universe. Similarly, like all these useful elements have just come flying out into the universe. Some have already been picked up. Some are in the process of being picked up. Kvem, I'm sure, will get picked up because he's just better than most players on most all Ukrainian teams. So won't be a free agent for long, I expect. He probably will explore some opportunities as far as potentially being on an international team. Again, it's for the good of the scene. Next.
Yep. I've gotten completely fucked because BC Game have signed Senzu.
Right. Yeah, you were wrong. Turns out Simple isn't out here fisting people with spiky knuckle dusters on. Maybe someone will be willing to play with them. Just maybe.
Yeah. They then also revealed that they've signed the two players they have signed. On a stream they revealed this. Let me see if I can find it super quick. But it was basically that the CEO on a stream confirmed that they had signed two players, both of which had played majors, were not like young up and coming prospects. And I'm just gonna find the post. I think it was this. Yeah, both players have competed at majors.
Right.
There will be like no young prospects. One of them is highly experienced, quote unquote, and they will be announced later this week. Was said on June 25th.
All right. Welcome, Jerry.
They also denied that it wasn't going to be Jimmy, which was supposedly talked about earlier today. So, look, they need a caller. But look, there's also another thing. Skrunk, their analyst, decided to step away from the team, despite the fact that they just signed Senzu, a new experienced manager with a pretty nice portfolio and supposedly two very good players. What does it say that Skrunk thinks he can do better than that and that he wants to leave the team?
It says that Skrunk maybe isn't that interested in whatever they can offer him. If they don't want to make him their head coach or their IGL, he could...
It's fine being the analyst, right? Yeah.
He was. Maybe he's not anymore.
Fair. Yeah.
I don't see the need to fucking every time something happens to BC Game go, let's see how fucking Simple's ruining everything. Like,
and it's not simple. I'm just saying something's wrong with that fucking org, man.
You've got some sort of vendetta against this team. I'm aware. You've made it clear. I'm sure it's just Skrunk wants to do better than being an analyst right now. Maybe it's a salary thing as well. Team.
Yeah. Let's say I saw some people say Magisk is in-game leader, which kind of makes sense. Would fit the bill.
That would
Highly
fit
experienced. Yeah. Taz and Magisk as the coach and IGL duo.
Okay, what? Let's move on because we need to wrap up the show. It's getting late.
Simple deserves
So
better.
I can't
3D
get
Max.
into that.
3D Max have gone insane. They've benched Exorcise and they've signed Kersey as a rifler.
I saw one person theorize that this was their preemptive move for when they eventually bench Maka, make Gravity IGL, and sign Nechu or something like that. Unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. And even then, I'm not sure you'd wish it. So
why wouldn't you just do it now?
Maybe you can't do it now for whatever reason. That's, I think, the whole speculation. But more importantly, in terms of what's actually happened, it's not really the end of the world. It's really not, because he's actually all right on a rifle. It's just a bit weird as far as learning the role that Exorcise has. I think he's going to struggle a bit. But it's not the craziest move I've ever seen.
On GL in 41 maps, he dropped a 0.21 op KPR, or sniper KPR. On T side, that was a 0.09. This guy is one of those oppers who maybe shouldn't be an opper in reality.
Yeah.
I also don't think he's like, I wouldn't outright say that Kersey's more talented than Exorcise. I think Exorcise is all right. So
I think he's has a pretty sharp aim, but the 3D Max just constantly just change stuff and bounce back, and then change stuff and then bounce back. So it's one of those moves anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, great news. ZywOo is a free agent.
Wow.
In other news, Semper Fi continues to fall apart like wet toilet paper. Keen has now left the team. There's only 2 players left, Shady and Savage. So Keen is on the market.
Yeah, and
20...
that's a fact.
It is a fact, and that also ends the Eternal Shuffle. Actually, look, I thought there were more tier 2 moves this week, but there weren't. I looked. I couldn't find any.
Wow. Okay, well, that's the Eternal Shuffle. That's the end of the show. We're going to wrap it up there. Thank you all for tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If you're watching this on the VOD, leave a comment telling us your thoughts on any of our decisions and opinions. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of them as far as the top 20 is concerned. I've already got some in the live chat. I'm sure we'll get plenty more in reaction. Become a member if you want to support the channel and get access to a bunch of extra content. Thank you to our core contributors, XL, Romich, Amnesiac, and the new one, Dylan. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.